Friday night. That means it's time for the Don Tony Show.
You've waited all week, and now it's finally here. Get Don Tony's perspective on current affairs in the world of pro wrestling and beyond.
And now, your host, the man, the legend, Don Tony.
All right. It's Friday night. It's Friday night. We have Royal Rumble predictions to get into. Royal Rumble predictions. All right, let's get into them. Match number one. I think Shayna Baszler's going to win. Bianca Belair's going to win. Bray Wyatt's going to win. Brock Lesnar's going to win. And Roman Reigns is going to win. Bye.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts.
No, we got a lot to talk about. Good evening, everyone. It is Friday night, and SmackDown just went off the air. For my friends who are tuning in live to AEW Rampage, listen, I am sorry, buddy. I saw those spoilers, and no, I wasn't going to wait until after 11 o'clock to be doing this show tonight. So we're going to give you Royal Rumble predictions. We will recap SmackDown tonight. We will definitely have a few words with regards to these two winners. Actually, I prefer to address Nikki Bella with Brie, because I don't think Brie is actually into this. Listen, I'm not trying to show any disrespect for Brie, but I think she is a follower to whatever Nikki leads. The island of irrelevancy is starting to approach as Nikki hits 40, as Nikki hits more years past her career, as the e-shows dwindle away, as the podcasts don't do what they used to, all the controversial stories that she never revealed until she was in her late 30s in her lifetime, and now picking a fight with WWE about this hashtag give WWE women a chance. Are you fucking burnt? We'll have a serious, legit conversation about that a little bit later. I was going to wait until Monday to do it, but nah. I have a few things to say about that now, especially that they're on Tamron Hall, and I like Tamron Hall. But is this where the former WWE women go to vent and complain? And I guarantee about 95% of that audience didn't know a damn thing about. They probably didn't even watch Raw. And I tell you something else. I looked at Raw 25. Remember Raw 25? For me, 25th anniversary is much bigger than a 30-year anniversary. Whether it's high school, whether it's Raw, whether it's anything. 25 years, quarter of a century, is always considered a bigger anniversary than a 30. And we're going to recap the results. Because not only did Raw take place in one venue that night, it took place in two venues that night. Oh, yeah, the Bellas were there. And I will follow up something that we talked about on Monday. So, listen, I promise you, the Bellas talk will be this much tonight. And I have to give a little comment about Lacey Evans making her return tonight. I have been a big supporter of Lacey Evans since day one. If you recall, when they first brought her in, I always thought her military background was the way to go. They decided to go with the Southern Belle. And listen, she pulled it off decent, but it was a character that was destined for mediocrity in WWE. I guess we could just mention that briefly. So they repackaged her 3 times. They packaged her 3 times. The Southern Belle, then the military stuff, which she's crying. And look, it was very powerful, very inspirational. The funny thing is, they bring her on TV. Check this out, everybody. I got to mention this. Because, look, I was on the Lacey Evans train. The autism comments were a little bit naive on her part, but she has a right to say stupid stuff. We live in a free country. You have the right to say stupid stuff. I read it every day on social media. But the interesting thing about it is, they did all those vignettes, and she's telling us about her backstory, which is extremely inspirational. She comes in, and then he turn her heel, and it fucking fails miserably. So now we get these Operation Cobra Clutch vignettes to show how tough of a son of a bitch she is, as if 9 vignettes that we saw before then wasn't going to convince. Now this will. And what happens tonight, everyone? They bring her back. It's the same fucking shtick as before. She insults a little kid at the rampway, which a lot of people were saying was a special needs kid. She's telling the fans, shut up. And I'm like, wait a minute. Explain to me what this was all about. I mean, it was like, you brought it back, and I'm like, okay, you know, people were saying, oh, Sergeant Slaughter may be involved with her. Now she's doing the Cobra Clutch. And we're thinking to ourselves, you know, she's going to be brought back maybe as a babyface this time. Tough son of a bitch. They bring it back, and she's doing the same thing that they sent her back for those Operation Cobra Clutch. Listen, I've been a supporter of Lacey Evans since day one. She better hope her career has some of those preservatives that she don't like. She's going to realize very quickly how much those preservatives are absolutely needed. You know, it keeps food in your refrigerator last a little bit longer. Those preservatives better keep your career a little bit longer, because this ain't leading to nothing. This ain't leading to nothing. They put it on TV. If you would have saw it tonight and you would have been a flashback from 6 months ago, you would have thought, like, why are they showing old Lacey Evans matches? Not very good. And I got to be honest with you also. I call it like it is. Rey Mysterio pinning Karrion Kross. You know, very interesting. No one was talking about Karrion Kross's tights tonight. I'm very curious what you all thought about his tights. I honestly think, seriously, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but his tights said some like annihilation attack. It's like 3 words, you know, and they're not bad. But all I kept thinking about as I saw those tights was, if Vince McMahon was still head of creative, people would have said, what the fuck, Vince making him wear these goofy-looking tights? Even though they're not goofy. But you look at silence. The only people that are telling off Triple H right now are the ones that are hardcore in the Bella camp. Fuck you, Triple H. Fuck you that you had to do a DX segment and you cut our women's match on Raw. Man, you think the Bellas have seen the demo ratings as far as women in wrestling or merchandise sales or anything else? How dare they act like women's wrestling is, you know, taking like steps back in recent months? Are you fucking kidding me? You got to be kidding me, man. We'll talk about that later. I know you're here mostly for Royal Rumble predictions and SmackDown. Now, before we get into the Royal Rumble predictions, let's just recap SmackDown very, very quickly right now. This is going to be a quick show because in 24 hours, we'll be right back here recapping Royal Rumble. Now, most of tonight was to set up the Royal Rumble. We had some surprise appearances from Raw wrestlers, and we had a couple of matches set up for next week. Now, we did have a surprise. And listen, you know, let's read between the lines. I thought it was pretty damn stupid. You have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. They are some of the toughest wrestlers in recent memory in WWE. And they've been doing these things like they did tonight again, where Drew and Sheamus are in the back talking in an interview segment with Kayla Braxton. And Sheamus is like, Drew, you know, I think you're going to be the winner of the Royal Rumble. And Drew then says to Sheamus, no, I think you. Now, obviously, they weren't chopping themselves. I'm just basically, they were hitting each other. And it started getting deeper, more and more physical. These guys like to physically fuck around with each other. They are tough as son of a bitches. So in the semifinals match for the #1 contenders for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And they're supposed to tonight take on Hit Row. So Drew and Sheamus, after showing us how tough they are, that they just want to beat the fuck out of each other, because they love to, I love to fight. Sheamus loves to fight. They come down to the rampway, and the Viking Raiders show up. And the Viking Raiders are brawling with them and everything. And Sheamus and Drew McIntyre run to the back and chase the Viking Raiders. Okay, that's fine. So Hit Row's in the ring, and Adam Pearce comes out, and he says that Sheamus and Drew McIntyre willingly forfeited their spot in the tournament. Explain this logic to me. Explain that logic to me. If they were fucking Joey 924 and they had to roll themselves down to the ring, they would have been in that match. That makes no sense whatsoever as far as their characters are concerned. But we have a suitable replacement just sitting in the wings waiting for that opportunity. And what happens? Braun Strowman and Ricochet come out. And they take this place of Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, and they defeat Hit Row because Hit Row wasn't planned to be facing them. And that's the reason why they went with this. No plans for Drew and Sheamus to dethrone the Usos for those tag titles. They didn't want Hit Row to just be squashed like a grape. And they didn't want any bullshit finish because Hit Row was not going to the finals, obviously. So they wanted a babyface tag team that really has not gotten any type of shot for any tag titles in recent memory. And Ricochet and Braun Strowman, because of the last tournament, you know, they kind of had a little bit of a bond, and the fans started enjoying that tag team. So now they bunched Ricochet and Braun Strowman together, and they said, okay, we want them to go to the finals. And they got a little bit creative with it. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus were never destined to win this tournament, but they were in there, and basically the Viking Raiders ruining their opportunity is supposed to put more heat on the Viking Raiders so Drew McIntyre and Sheamus could end up having some gimmick match with the Viking Raiders in about a week or two. And meanwhile, you get Braun Strowman and Ricochet in there unexpectedly, the surprise factor, and now they end up facing Imperium in the finals. And the funny thing is, when they hyped it up for next week, did any of you out there felt like a title was on the line? It sure did for me, because like next week it's the finals, and I'm like, oh, there's no title on the line. It's just for number one contenders. But hey, a tournament is a tournament is a tournament. So they will be taking on Imperium next week. Imperium, pretty much, I think it's safe to say, they dominated Legado del Fantasma, and I think that was necessary. I know it doesn't say as much for Legado, which, you know, since they've been on SmackDown, I don't know, something feels missing. Something, if they feel filler more than anything else, and they should not be filler. But the reason why Imperium dominated today is to give that suspension of disbelief that they have a shot against Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, the monster amongst monsters. Braun Strowman has done a fabulous job since being back in the WWE. So, you know, you have to make Imperium look that much more dominant against Legado. So this match next week actually, you know, it could go either way. So I'm fine with Ricochet and Braun winning this whole thing. But the idea that Sheamus and Drew would just forfeit their spot in this tournament, especially for the hatred for the Usos, the hatred for the Bloodline, and just because the Viking Raiders, you know, put their hands on them a little bit, you know, just it goes completely against their characters. I thought it was foolish. Why not just have the Viking Raiders lay him out on a stretcher? Why not just fucking put him on a table or something, climb fucking a SmackDown barricade, just do something crazy? You know, of course they're going to be, you know, they don't, listen, I know what people are going to say. Well, the reason why they couldn't, like, take him out on a stretcher is because they're going to be in the Royal Rumble match tomorrow. Well, then, you know, you see where I'm going with this? It makes no sense. Why did they do this right before the Royal Rumble? Do it last week. Do it the week after. The night before the Royal Rumble? Stupid. Stupid, 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 in my opinion. All right. So, a couple other match results tonight. We gotta talk about this. Austin Theory makes a surprise appearance. If you have not figured out already that he is taking on John Cena at WrestleMania, then something is wrong. When he comes out there and does exactly And now he's emphasizing the word, here! The champ is here! Just like John Cena used to do. Austin Theory is mocking John Cena. Their match at WrestleMania is happening. It is absolutely going to happen. Now, it would be awesome if John Cena was in the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Hey, you never know. We're going to have some surprises. Absolutely. I see a couple of super chats came in about 2 surprises that I think that might be more clickbait by people than anything else. But Austin Theory comes out there mocking John Cena once again. He's interrupted by New Day. We get a little bit of a comedy segment. And Kofi Kingston's like, there's only 3 Austins that I respect. Creed, Steve, and Texas. You know, where he, I guess, resides now. And Austin, Creed, Xavier Woods tells Austin Theory, oh, you know, you waste time on Raw because you got 3 hours. You know, here we don't waste time in this and that. So the Miz comes out. Miz getting in everybody's face that he's going to win the Rumble. We get a brawl, and then Bobby Lashley shows up, cleans house, gets on the mic, calls out Brock Lesnar. Sure. So Brock shows up, F5's Bobby Lashley, says, I'll see you at the Royal Rumble tomorrow. So Brock Lesnar is now officially in the Royal Rumble match. And that's where we go from here. We had promos from various wrestlers throughout the night. Rhea Ripley cutting a powerful one. Xia Li, you know how we feel about Xia Li. We root for her, but WWE has totally, misused her. Her vignettes is what we're going to remember about Xia Li. If she's not on this roster by the end of the year, what we will always remember about Xia Li in the WWE is her vignettes. Some of the greatest vignettes in NXT history, and some of the most creative vignettes when they were hyping her appearance, her showing up on SmackDown. Remember with her landlord abusing her family? She has had 2. I mean, you rarely see that. Seriously. You get vignettes. I mean, if they want to spend the time, they can make some fabulous shit. It is very rare to have someone get amazing vignettes on both NXT and the main roster. So, as we said earlier, Lacey Evans made her return. She beat Jasmine Allure. She hit her with the women's right, followed by the Cobra Clutch. As we said earlier, Ricochet and Braun Strowman, they defeat Top Dollar and Ashante Adonis, Hit Row. Imperium over Legado del Fantasma. In the main event tonight, we had Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa. I guess it went to no contest. They started brawling. Now, earlier in the night, Kevin Owens cutting an interview, and he gets interrupted by the Usos, a little bit of a pull-apart, and Jey Uso gets on the phone, and he's saying, Us, I need you here. And everybody speculates that it's Sami Zayn. Remember the storyline, Roman Reigns did not want to see Sami Zayn's face until the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns was not there tonight, so I can't see why Sami Zayn couldn't be there. But ultimately, Sami Zayn does show up, does get involved in the main event. Unfortunately, he eats a super kick from Solo Sikoa, who was intending to hit Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens moved out of the way, nailed Sami outside the ring. Sami and KO brawling outside the ring a little bit. We were going to get a table spot. Solo was going to do a splash onto KO through a table. KO gets up and basically just like power bombs Solo Sikoa on the table. Table does not break. Kevin Owens picks up a chair, looks at Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's in the corner outside the ring, and KO just throws the chair on the floor his way and says, I'll see you on tomorrow night. And that's how we went off the air. So it was a good lead-in for the Royal Rumble. I know in years past where we used to seeing like 30, 40 people start battling in the ring and people getting thrown over the top rope, and that's how we go off the air. No, we didn't get that tonight. They focused on Kevin Owens more than anything else. Look, they're going to be 50,000 people there tomorrow. 50,000. This is not going to be your typical 16, 20,000 plus fans. This is going to be a massive, massive event. And there's going to be some cool surprises. There's definitely going to be some cool surprises. Now, we had an interesting segment tonight with LA Knight Bray Wyatt and the cameo by Uncle Howdy. Now, Bray Wyatt's Wyatt family music plays. We all thought Bray Wyatt was going to come out old school. Now, there's an interview coming out tomorrow with Bray Wyatt and I think might be Ryan Satin. And he talks about, what's been going on. By the way, I got to get an update on Barry Windham. Nobody's talking about Barry Windham. I mean, I'm hoping that he's got to be home already. I mean, I have a customer that was in the hospital for 2 months, and he was in, worse shape than Barry Windham, and Barry Windham was in some pretty bad shape, and, I would hope that Barry Windham's home by now. But in that interview, one teaser we did get is that he says that The Fiend is dead. The Fiend is dead. Now, honestly, never say never in the WWE. We just saw The Fiend on the Firefly Funhouse 2 weeks ago. So, The Fiend may be dead, and maybe The Fiend is not going to wrestle anymore, but they sure damn have no problem using it in vignettes. And I'm not complaining. If I start looking around, believe me, I'll find Wyatt shit all throughout the night. Look, Wyatt, brand new in the box, never opened. Wyatt Jim, brand new in the box, never opened. Fiend bobbleheads all over the place. I got Bray Wyatt shit everywhere. Oh, and I got my cock too. Got my cock. It's a chicken, everyone. It's a rubber chicken. So, all right, enough. Hey, look, everyone. I got my cock and I got my sausage. Which one you want to play with? You want to play with the sausage or play with the cock? So, the Wyatt family music hits. We don't get Bray Wyatt. We get LA Knight coming out. He looks more like that show Riptide. Was that the name of the show from the 80s? He looked like the guy that we just had to return the repackaging of the show Night Court. He looks like an 80s character. Seriously, he looks like Glenn Fry from back in the day. I always thought LA Knight, when he was doing the Max Dupree, he looked like an 80s TV star. But he comes out dressed like like Bray Wyatt, and he's throwing a lot of shade to Bray Wyatt. And next thing we know, Bray Wyatt is on the rampway. Bray Wyatt cutting a promo. And you wait till tomorrow night, the pitch black match. And then in the rafters, I thought it was like a Titantron, a video screen, but it wasn't. It was in the rafters. We see Uncle Howdy. And Uncle Howdy, just like looking, and apparently Bray Wyatt is in sync with Uncle Howdy right now. Like Bray knows he's there, and he points, and Uncle Howdy is happy, and he's like this and like this. So when we get to predictions, we got to talk about that match. Hopefully, we get a reveal tomorrow. Now, everybody that's clickbaiting, like, Bo Dallas is going to be at the Royal Rumble. I would think so. He's an agent. No shit. And people are like, Vince McMahon hasn't been at the creator meetings. Yeah, no shit. I mean, it's not news. Everybody knows this already. But hey, maybe Uncle Howdy is revealed tomorrow. I think it's necessary. You got 50,000 people there. Man, just picture 50,000 fans going, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. If it's Bo Dallas. Honestly, I think if it's Vincent from Ring of Honor, I think the fans would still go, holy shit. Because it's not necessarily the person. It's the action of the reveal, which is what's very powerful. And the surprise factor. And the anticipation that now that this is the next chapter is beginning. And Bray Wyatt apparently is going to talk about Uncle Howdy with Ryan Satin. And he says that there's a lot of layers about Uncle Howdy that is yet to be opened, which is really interesting because why would you do an interview like that just to have Uncle Howdy turn on Bray Wyatt? Like the day of the Royal Rumble, the interview comes out. So you think that the interview would have to sync a little bit with what we're going to see, right? I mean, wouldn't the interview sound ridiculous if Bray gets into this whole diatribe about something with Uncle Howdy, and then we get the opposite at the Royal Rumble. So I think the timing is obviously intentional. But, fun night tonight on SmackDown. You could feel it in the air. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention really quick. For our Elite channel members here on YouTube, the Elite channel members, the predictions contest is up. You could vote. And, you have a chance to win a cool 50. And the reason why I couldn't post it early is because we didn't know if any matches were going to be added or changed for the Royal Rumble. We had to see SmackDown first tonight. I got nervous because I posted the predictions contest at around 10:30 tonight to give everybody a chance. You have until 2 o'clock tomorrow to enter. The same thing on Patreon. And as soon as I hit the fucking enter button, I see on this TV screen Ryan Satin interviewing Charlotte Flair. It's SmackDown. They're showing a highlight. And Sonya Deville walks in, and I'm like, oh, no. I just released the contest to everyone. Are they actually going to add that match for the Royal Rumble? No. They're going to face each other next week on SmackDown, which is really interesting. I mean, is Charlotte Flair needed for the Royal Rumble? No, she's not. And obviously, she's not going to be in the Royal Rumble. I mean, you could make sense and say, I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble so I could take Bianca Belair's title and I'll be a double champion. Charlotte 2 belts. That's a very easy way to explain Charlotte Flair in the Royal Rumble match. Or if she was a heel, I win the Royal Rumble match, I take a night off. I don't have to fight at WrestleMania. You can do that too. But she's obviously not playing a heel right now. But they show her having a confrontation with Sonya Deville, and then Charlotte's with Adam Pearce. And Charlotte tells Adam Pearce, I want Sonya Deville. I'll even give her a title shot. And I'm like, motherfucker, it's going to be added to the Royal Rumble. But what I found kind of confusing is Adam Pearce, like, how's about next week? I would think that Charlotte Flair would be, no, I want to face her at the Royal Rumble. In front of 50,000 fans, I want to embarrass her. But no, she's like, cool. Next week on SmackDown. So I'm glad it's not happening at the Royal Rumble. Those 2 Royal Rumble matches are going to go an hour apiece. And then you have, the pitch black match supposed to go a little bit because of the storyline attached to it. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens is going to be a hot mess, and I say that with love. It's going to be a hot mess. It's going to be wild. So that's going to go a decent amount of time. Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, I think, will probably just go its normal 10 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get any, sci-fi shit attached to it. But I think that's enough with the Royal Rumble. And as I said before, when people kept saying that Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar are going to fight in a steel cage at the Royal Rumble, you're not going to have a match like that be overshadowed by Royal Rumble matches. We look back, my God, you look back at the Royal Rumble last year. Can you truly remember a hell of a lot from last year's Royal Rumble? Do you even remember who won last year's Royal Rumble? Friends, very, very quickly, you got to write both names. Who was the male and female that won the Royal Rumble last year? First person that types it gets a quick shout out. Like, I had to think for a moment as far as who the 2 winners were. All right, Austin Nance, props to you. I mean, Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey, the 2 Ultimate Fighters, won last year. I actually had to take a step back and think about it, because we've been so used to Roman Reigns being the unified champion. One of those belts he's only had for 200-something days. Maybe a year, if you think about it. So, you're so used to hearing the 800-plus reign, you almost get brainwashed to think that he's had both titles for that long, and he hasn't. So, one more plug, then we'll do some predictions. And then we'll get into a couple other little tidbits. Ariel Helwani interviewed Sami Zayn. I think the full interview just came out, but I'm going to give you a quick 5-second teaser just to give you an idea as far as they don't hold anything back. Listen to this question, Ariel Helwani. Now, look, I have some compliments to give Tony Khan tonight. A little news that no one, you'll hear reports soon, but I talked to someone behind the scenes in AEW, somebody who I'm friendly with. Not close, but we talk a little bit online. Oh, by the way, here's the thing. Any of you out there that ordered the Jay Briscoe tribute shirt. I got a DM from somebody, behind the scenes to tell me that they are expediting these shirts out as quickly as they can. And do not be surprised if a lot of you get your shirts by next week. So you should be getting shipping alerts any moment now that your shirts are already shipped out. That's how fast they're trying to roll these in and out as quickly as possible. They want these shirts seen at the arenas, and yes, you can buy them in some capacity at the arena, but they want to get these out as quickly as possible. So somebody told me that within the next 24 to 48 hours, if you ordered the shirts when they came out, expect a contact that it's on its way. So I think hopefully by this Wednesday Dynamite, I'll have my tribute shirt. So just a little detail. Yeah, I know Hobbs is on Rampage. I'm purposely not giving spoilers. If you all want to see the results from Rampage, well, I'll give you the results in a few minutes, because in a few minutes Rampage will be off the air and then I could give it to you. But, I'm going to give Tony Khan a little bit of props in a moment. But, when I thought about some of this interview, because I've seen some of it already with Sami Zayn and Ariel Helwani, if you could imagine, like, Tony Khan be like, I can't talk about that. No, I just can't talk about that. Here's a question that Ariel Helwani hit Sami Zayn with. Check this out.
Last 6-7 months, do they turn out this way if Triple H isn't head of creative?
You're going to have to tune into the interview. Sami Zayn talks very, very candid about creative, Vince McMahon, Triple H. Some of you may actually disagree with a little bit of what Sami Zayn said. But very interesting that these wrestlers are this comfortable to issue a little criticism Vince McMahon's way. Look, Vince can handle it, obviously, and they're not really going deep against Vince. But, having the kahunas to stand up for yourself. And it's very, very interesting, the interview. So definitely want to go check that out. All right. So without further ado, let us talk about the Royal Rumble. We got predictions, everyone. We got predictions. Let's get into it. All right. Let me just pull this up. Here we go. There we go. All right. Only got 5 matches. So we'll take our time, and I will incorporate the super chats that came in that are related to the Royal Rumble. So these are your predictions for Saturday night, and I will be here right after the Royal Rumble to recap it, give you my honest review. We'll see, how accurate we were, and we'll talk about the surprises, and let's talk about the women's Royal Rumble match first. And I'm going to have to go out of place with this a little bit, because one of the 2 questions that came in has to do with the women's Royal Rumble. But not many women were announced. Now, this photo that you see is obviously missing a few faces, because tonight they showed Xia Li, they showed Rhea Ripley, who's already on that screen, but they showed a few of the lower card women. Now, I thought this was hilarious. I thought this was funny. PW Insider is reporting that Indy Hartwell, Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, and Natalya are all at Texas. They're in San Antonio, Royal Rumble weekend. They're not necessarily saying that they're going to be in the Royal Rumble match. They just were spotted there. But what I found funny is, why would you include Natalya on that list? Like, Natalya, isn't she a SmackDown wrestler already? So why wouldn't she be in the Royal Rumble? Of course, Natalya. I think that's almost common sense. But listen, this may be a good sign that we may see a few NXT women perform in the Royal Rumble. But let's be honest. Is Roxanne Perez going to win this thing? Is she going to go down to the wire? No. Indy Hartwell, I know a lot of us still have so much love for the Index segments and the way, and it was fun, man. It was fun. But Indy Hartwell, let's be honest, you bring it to the main roster, and I'm a big fan of hers. But we got to tell it straight. Look, on Monday, when they cut the women's cage match for time, we said it. What did you want them to do? A 4-minute match? just to have the match. Save it. Save it. There's no reason why they can't do it next week or the week after. But everybody, that just wanted a reason to get triggered and be part of a movement just got livid with that, And here's the thing also. Raw Monday scored the biggest rating it's had in almost 3 years. I think the first hour was 2.6 million. When was the last time you heard anything remotely close to that? You think that it was 2.6 million because a Bella was going to be there or something? No. I mean, over 30 years of Raw, and we'll talk about that a little bit more detail later. But my point is this, you look at the stars and you look at who's performing, and especially when you talk about on the women's side, you bring Indy Hartwell to the main roster. What is she going to do? She's going to lose. She's going to be enhancement talent. She's going to be there to put other people over. You had Jasmine Allure, who's not even signed to WWE. She ended up eating the loss for Lacey Evans because they don't have anybody other than maybe Aaliyah or Dana Brooke or somebody like that. So as much as we love Indy Hartwell, you bring it to the main roster. The only role I see her in is she realigns with Dexter Lumis. And then we're going to have comedy segments where they double date or they have some, and then when she has a match, where do you see any momentum? Where do you see any titles? So, as much as we want to see people promoted to the main roster, it doesn't mean that it should happen. But people just get outraged and then they don't use any common sense. So cool that we have some NXT stars in the Royal Rumble, because a couple of years from now, when Roxanne Perez is on the food chain and a serious contender like Bianca Belair is now and some others, we'll look back at that match and check out Roxanne early in her career before she, made it big. It's always cool to look back at stuff like that. But in the end, the major players is what everybody wants to see. Becky Lynch, who they are keeping awfully quiet for this Royal Rumble, if you really think about it, they're keeping it awfully quiet. I think Becky Lynch comes down in the Final Four. Rhea Ripley has to be in the Final Four. I think the fans will boo WWE out of the building if Rhea Ripley gets eliminated early. I think Rhea and Becky Lynch, those are my two picks for the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. Those are my picks. I have not moved even in the slightest. Now, Naomi, a lot of people are hoping that Naomi is going to return. Don't know if she's going to return. Nobody knows if she's going to return. Very interesting that all of these websites that were 1,000% sure that Mercedes Moné was going to debut in AEW, I can't believe that they're not jumping to say that Naomi is going to be at the Rumble, because they lied before and they got tons of hits. Oh my God. There's a couple of news stories floating around right now that we're not even going to put on this show. I'm going to wait till after the Rumble is over tomorrow, and then we'll laugh at them for the ridiculousness of it. But this main Royal Rumble match is going to come down to the major players, maybe Liv Morgan. A lot of people think that Liv Morgan may go a long time in this match. She could end up in the Final Four. Raquel Rodriguez could end up in the Final Four. But I think in the end, if there's an elimination chamber, and by the way, I don't want to get off topic, but if you want to see something interesting, go seek out the poster for Elimination Chamber. I mean, few people have sent it to me. It looks legit. I mean, I haven't seen, enough of it yet to confirm it, but it certainly looks legit. Sami Zayn is against the plexiglass in the Elimination Chamber. The picture is just Sami Zayn, and it looks like he is crying for help. Now, I've never seen that pose of Sami Zayn before. When was the last time you saw Sami Zayn with his hands up and crying for help? So that's why I don't think it's fake. So something interesting. Maybe it's the Bloodline versus Sami Zayn in elimination. I have no idea. But if we have a women's match at Elimination Chamber to determine who's going to be the other opponent for the women's championship, then my prediction stays the same. Becky Lynch wins the Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley wins Elimination Chamber. I think Rhea Ripley, how intimidating that she is, and how a lot of people even think that she should be in the men's Royal Rumble match also, which would be very interesting. Maybe Tozawa ends up eliminator. I don't know. But if you look at the Elimination Chamber, who would you want left standing, winning, getting a women's championship match at WrestleMania coming out of Elimination Chamber? Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley? Becky Lynch did a great job at War Games. She made her return. She did a decent job. But I think Rhea Ripley surviving the Chamber fits her more than Becky Lynch surviving the Chamber. So I'm going with Becky Lynch to win the women's Royal Rumble match. And she will ultimately challenge Charlotte Flair. I think we will get Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I know some people out there may not want that, but, I think it would be a very interesting match. Listen, some of you say Naomi is a dark horse, Raquel Rodriguez, which we talked about on the Q&A. Those are not bad picks, but I think it is going to be Becky Lynch, and I honestly don't see it any other way, except for Rhea Ripley. If Rhea Ripley would have won it, that's fine, but I still think those are your two women's championship opponents at WrestleMania. Now, I hope we get Asuka returning as Kana. I hope that she has her character from Japan, not just because it's different makeup. I feel a slew of coughs coming. I've been losing my voice the last couple of days at work. But it's not just a change in the makeup. It's a change in her character, a change in her gimmick, her attitude. And don't count out the possibility of Alexa Bliss and Asuka staying as a tag team. Because if you think of Asuka's, gimmick from Japan and Alexa Bliss trying to be a little bit more evil and supernatural, that might be an interesting dynamic to keep them together. Although I almost feel like Alexa Bliss versus Asuka at WrestleMania is a possibility. So they could be opponents. They could be teammates. Do not see Shayna Baszler winning this. I don't see it. I am a big fan of Shayna Baszler. I don't think this year is in it for her. I think she'll have a good appearance there. Now, let me post this $10 super chat that was sent in because it's a name that I think is being used right now for clickbait purposes only, but I could see this person in the Royal Rumble. Let me just pull this off the screen. Ronnie C. Now, when he says, I will see Big Sal's 5 and raise him 5, that's because Big Sal sent in a $5 super chat. It has to do with the men's Royal Rumble match, which we'll get into in a moment. But Ronnie says, ADT, what's with all the Nia Jax rumors about being in the Royal Rumble? Honestly, I think that's clickbait right now. And I think that's just designed because people just have to have those hits. They have to be noticed. They want people in droves to single out their post and comment about it, and just so who's a name that could really be in the Royal Rumble that would piss off fans the most? Nia Jax is probably at the top of that list. I can see Nia Jax returning. I think Nia Jax is extremely crushed for being released in the first place. I don't know if WWE would really want her back. I mean, she has been extremely quiet, and I think she learned from her early comments. Especially, I don't want to keep going back and forth with the Bellas. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But, you hear what the Bellas are doing right now. They're basically proving WWE's point that if I'm WWE, I ain't bringing those motherfuckers back in. Because, if WWE does not acknowledge them, then they're trying to spark that the women's movement is going backwards and stuff. And that's just awful. That is so disrespectful. You see Trish Stratus and Lita paving the way for women to come. Inspirational and idols and role models for women that broke into the business 10, 15 years ago. And you don't hear them fucking bitching and complaining. they hold their head up high and they take their spot in history and they love it. And when they can show up and they let the fans voice out. But when it comes to Nikki, more than anything, it's like, hey, why aren't we getting acknowledged? Why aren't we getting celebration? Well, not for nothing. The more we see the talent of a Bianca Belair, a Charlotte Flair, a Becky Lynch, a Roxanne Perez, a Rhea Ripley, and you go just down the line, soon Cora Jade, and you see the women's ability today. I think the more women today that showcase how fucking incredible they are in the ring, the more you go look back at the Bella stuff and you're like, the fuck? They weren't good in the ring. They weren't very good in the ring. That motherfucker got headlined for Evolution. And yeah, that was a friendly gesture. And a match with Ronda Rousey was less than stellar. You know, I think overly inflated. And yeah. So I think Nia Jax is clickbait right now, just to trigger emotion from fans, just to get people to respond back, oh, that motherfucker better not be in the Royal Rumble. I hope she is. I hope Lana's in the Royal Rumble. I hope Nia Jax eliminates Lana, or maybe the vice versa. Maybe Lana gets put through another table, just for the hell of it. If we see the return of the Spanish announcer team tomorrow, then maybe Lana shows up and she gets put through a table. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, listen, don't discount the possibility of Nia Jax being in that Royal Rumble. But I think it's just clickbait right now, just to trigger emotion and responses from people. All right, next. This, I think, is obvious. You know, you want to sell your soul to the devil. You know, you want to bet everything that you own, you bet it on this match. There ain't no way Alexa Bliss is dethroning Bianca Belair of the Women's Championship. Not leading into WrestleMania. I think this match is going to be a lot better than what people are predicting it to be. You know, is Alexa Bliss on the level of Bianca Belair? No, she's not. But not every women's wrestler should be. Not every wrestler on the men's side should be on an elite level. You have different characters, different attitudes, you know, different gimmicks, different styles. Alexa Bliss will give Bianca Belair a decent performance. And you might feel that Bianca may have to slow her offense down a little bit to be on the level of Alexa. But guess what? That's what makes a champion even better. You know, you always hear over the years that Ric Flair can make a broomstick look great in the ring. Think about that comment. I'm not saying that Alexa Bliss is a broomstick, but the point is that, you know, a champion not only puts on a performance worthy of a champion, but they help the other wrestlers who are not on that level, may never be on that level, haven't grown to that level yet, and make them look even better than what they are. And that is what a champion also does. This match will be good. I don't think this match will be bad in any way, but it's obvious Bianca Belair is getting this win. It's not even close. The pitch black match. I was with a lot of you that have been saying for the last week or two, LA Knight's getting this win. Uncle Howdy is going to show up and cause Bray Wyatt the match, and then reveal whatever he's going to reveal. I personally think with the passing of the torch as it's perceived, and I buy into it with The Undertaker. I know a lot of people feel, oh, Bray Wyatt doesn't deserve that torch from The Undertaker. Says who? Says us? We're entitled to an opinion. No. Undertaker maybe lights a fire under Bray's ass. Somebody that powerful. And understand, too, the Wyndham family has a lot of personal love and appreciation for The Undertaker. You know, so this goes deeper than just a supernatural gimmick with a supernatural gimmick passing the torch to each other. No, it's much deeper than that. So I personally think Undertaker, couple of words of inspiration to Bray Wyatt, I think you can't follow that with a loss. So LA Knight will survive this. Not just physically, but LA Knight will survive it career-wise. The guy has it. The guy, you want to see him get his ass kicked. You want that guy on TV. He's not a bathroom break. LA Knight will definitely get a lot of offense in on Bray Wyatt. But in the end, Bray Wyatt is going to get this win. Now, I think the match itself, people are worried because it's the Pitch Black match. It's sponsored by Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew's got this drink called Pitch Black. So, it's, they're not going to be hitting each other with Mountain Dews. Or if you saw my tweet, if Uncle Howdy has a couple of too many Mountain Dews, he's going to be walking to the ring and all happy and with a sugar rush, If you haven't seen my tweet yet, you should. It's pretty funny. I should have had it. I'll cue it up tomorrow. I'll cue it up tomorrow when we do the recap. But LA Knight, he's got it. Should he be a champion right now? No. But believe me when I tell you, you look back at a couple of years ago with Kevin Owens or even Sami Zayn. KO went a very long time without winning any gold. Sami Zayn, you just felt was just filling spots here and there. And then something just clicks and it just goes to the next level. LA Knight is in the best shape of his career. There's no rush that LA Knight needs to, hit his ceiling now. So a loss with Bray Wyatt is not going to hurt his career. The match will be dark. The match will be no DQ. We will see Uncle Howdy get involved. Hopefully we get a reveal. I think we may get a tease of another person on top of it. But in the end, Bray Wyatt is going to hit Sister Abigail on LA Knight and is going to get the win. I don't see Bray Wyatt losing, especially after what I saw on Monday's Raw. Okay, next. The men's Royal Rumble. Now, obviously, more names have been announced. And because the names announced are strong enough on their own to have a pretty decent Royal Rumble match. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, right off the bat, there's two of your Final Four. So even Brock Lesnar, which I don't think he's going to be in the Final Four, but you look at this Royal Rumble and if we have the confrontation with Gunther and Brock, which we've been talking about for ages, maybe Cena makes a surprise appearance. You never know. Maybe Cena eliminates Austin Theory, and then someone quickly eliminates Cena right afterwards. That could happen. Why not? 50,000 people? You have a huge audience there. Expect some huge surprises, swerves. So you look at this talent, and on its own, it's worthy for a fun Royal Rumble match. So you don't need the number of surprises, but there are quite a few spots to fill still. Now, will we get NXT wrestlers? If we're going to get possibly Zoe Stark, Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez, I think we could see Braun Breaker. We could see Grayson Waller. Hell, we could see Apollo Crews. Why not? There's definitely a few names in NXT that can show up. The only problem is, if you're going to want those guys in the Royal Rumble, it's not because you want them to win, because they have no shot at winning. You just want to see them in the Rumble. There's a big difference here. There's a big difference with who you want to see in the Rumble and who you want to win in the Rumble. So if you don't mind people having spots just to fill the spots, then that's fine. Gallows and Anderson probably end up in the Rumble. You think of some names that are not shown on that graphic right now, you could fill in 3/4 of those names, and don't be surprised if they end up actually being the ones that we're talking about. Now, I want to thank, who sent this? Big Sal? I think this was Big Sal. For the 5 spot. What's with all the Jay White rumors? Do I think he'll actually be in the Royal Rumble? No, I don't. No, I don't. By the way, I'm wearing the retro shirt again. Got a lot of nice feedback from all of you. Yes, it is washed from Monday. I decided to wear it again for Friday. Why not? No, I don't see Jay White in the Royal Rumble. no disrespect against Jay White, but the WWE Universe in droves doesn't really give a rat's ass about Jay White. That's not his fault. If people were clamoring like, I must see Jay White must be in the Royal Rumble, well, why didn't you fucking tune into him when he was on Impact? Over and over and over and over and over. You see people like, oh my God, Kushida, oh, Darby Allin, Kushida, oh my God, he looks, the motherfucker's been in Impact. You don't tune in. Why? Why not? Why not even watch a YouTube video? All right, I don't want to watch Impact on Thursday night. I'm tired. Friday's coming up. I got to be rested. I got to go out with the boys or the girls or both. So how come nobody's like, hey, I've been checking out Kushida's matches on YouTube from Impact, or I've been watching some Bullet Club stuff that's been on Impact. Wow, it's pretty cool. You see these people's reaction. You realize they don't watch any of their stuff. They don't watch it at all. So Jay White, this is not a knock on Jay White. Jay White is incredible. That guy shows up. This ain't the AJ Styles pop that AJ got when he debuted in the Royal Rumble several years ago. Jay White comes out there, it pops on the screen. You think everybody's going to be like, ah! No. You might get a little bit polite, a little bit. You're not going to get any reaction. That's not, and listen, I think it would be disastrous, a little embarrassing and a little depressing. And you know what social media do. Motherfucking San Antonio fans don't give a fuck about, they don't know what good wrestling is. Jay White comes out, he gets no reaction whatsoever. That's what you'll see over and over again. If Jay White ends up working out a deal with WWE, if he hasn't already, you have him debut in a different way. Not with 50,000 people, where you might get 50,000 or 49,800 crickets, and there's no reaction. You don't want that for Jay White. Seriously. I don't want that for Jay White. Think I want Jay White's first appearance in the WWE to get no reaction whatsoever? No. I don't see that. So, no, I don't see it. King of Gains 405 with a 10 spot. Who do I think will be a big surprise for the Men's Royal Rumble? And also, do I like the 97 Royal Rumble with Austin winning? Yeah, I didn't mind Austin winning at that time. Think back, 1997. ECW is still going extremely strong. We now have them doing pay-per-views. We got the Attitude Era, really starting to get its form. I mean, so Steve Austin on the rise, and plus Shawn Michaels, getting ready to exit. So Steve Austin winning the Rumble? Yeah, I had no problem with that whatsoever. I liked Austin's appearances in the Rumble in the early years. When he was eliminating people and just looking at his watch that wasn't there. Austin was great at that time. It's, it's just when we were talking about the other day about the most charismatic wrestler in the history of wrestling. Or better yet, the biggest wrestler in the history of wrestling. And I chose Hulk Hogan. I know a lot of people hate my guts for saying that, but my point is that Hulk Hogan had decades and decades of a career and had at least a 10, 12-year run where he was on top. The NWO shit for 2 years or so, I mean, you can't compete with that. And you go WWF from 84, to maybe like 88, 89, and then you get a little bit here and there, and, his return and the match he had with Rock at Mania, even though he wasn't the number one guy, Rock and Austin, add up the number of years when they were on top of the world. It's not that many. For Steve Austin, he's like my Reggie Jackson of, what he was to WWE. WWF is what Reggie Jackson was for the Yankees. Reggie Jackson is a Hall of Famer, my favorite baseball player of all time. He only played on the Yankees from 77 to 81. People don't realize he was only there 5 years. And then he left in 82 for the Angels. And then everybody was like, everybody remembers him as a Yankee. Oh, and by the way, for all of you Yankee fans out there, and maybe as old as I am, a candy company reached out to me because I posted my, newspapers that apparently one of those two newspapers no one in the world has. There's no sighting of it in about 30 years. But one of the newspaper companies came out and contacted me and said, we want to send you a case of Reggie bars. And I thought it was a joke because I'm like, what are you going to send me? Outdated chocolate? I mean, I know I'm stupid enough to fucking, I'm stupid enough to maybe eat this Goldberg gum that's 20-something years old. This Goldberg gum is from 2000. It's still sealed. One day I'll open it. I still have I have all the NWO Sour Slam gums from 1998. I don't know if you can see it. They're just sitting here. But I didn't pay attention to it. And then I found out that they're bringing back the Reggie bar. All new Reggie bar. So, yeah, you got a little bit of exclusive here. DT got some connections. So, who do I think be a big surprise at the Royal Rumble? Maybe John Cena. Maybe John Cena. I don't see The Rock. I mean, The Rock would be interesting. But I can't help but to keep thinking about that night. And I just brought back the History Show. This past Tuesday, I brought back the History Show. Every week now on Tuesdays, you're going to get the History Show re-uploaded, remastered, commercials taken out. And it's amazing the response this time around. I can't believe it. It's beautiful, the response since Tuesday. But we talked about, when The Rock raised Roman Reigns' arm, one of those rumbles, and he's like just looking confused, like, the fuck is going on here? I'm not saying that the fans would treat The Rock that way. The Rock is beloved, larger than life. I think the fans appreciate The Rock more than they did 5 years ago. But I don't think the fans want a celebrity who has not wrestled, who is not going to return for any type of run, to just show up, eat a Mania title match against Roman Reigns, and then leave again. John Cena, it's a little bit different. Because John Cena, it almost feels like he's a beloved wrestler that now works Hollywood and wrestles time to time. The Rock feels like a Hollywood actor that will occasionally, once in a blue moon, return to wrestling. I think enough fans are not happy that even with the 30-year anniversary of Raw, the anniversary of SmackDown or others, even if WWE didn't tell him, like, hey, could you record a little props, like happy anniversary, this and that? Nothing. Why not go on your fucking Twitter account? You don't need WWE's approval. Go on Twitter. Hey, tonight's the 25th anniversary of SmackDown or the 30th anniversary of Raw, and great memories there, and everybody have a great time, and blah, 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 blah. When he's working out, when he's taking a shit, when he's in his fucking balcony and the sun is setting, he's having a glass of wine, he's having a protein shake. He's just, you in your car, in your SUV, you can't flip your iPhone on for 15, 20 seconds. So I think little things like that, rub people the wrong way. I think The Rock could be a surprise, but I don't think so. I don't think fans truly want The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It's a marquee match, but I think people would rather see Cody Rhodes take on Roman Reigns, or Sami Zayn take on Roman Reigns, or Seth Rollins take on Roman Reigns. I certainly don't want Steve Austin taking on Roman Reigns. We talked about that the other day. The fuck is Steve Austin going to eat a spear or eat a? He's no. So those are two surprises. Look, we talked about it on Monday. We all said we would have loved to have seen Kevin Nash at Raw. We did find out that WWE and Triple H invited Kevin Nash, and Kevin Nash said, no, I just want to stay home. And so he didn't appear. If he would have appeared on Raw Monday, maybe we would have saw him in the Royal Rumble match. I don't see Kevin Nash in the Royal Rumble match. Too soon. Maybe next year. X-Pac has already said that he's not going to be in the Royal Rumble match. He is not going to be in it either. So, personally, I think this comes down to Seth Rollins. I think it comes down to Cody Rhodes. You could have Austin Theory if you want as well. I think that would get under people's skin. Now, Sami Zayn. What is Sami Zayn going to do at the Royal Rumble? Everywhere I look, there's a new podcast or site or whatever reporting that Sami Zayn is going to be in the Rumble match and is one of the favorites to win it. And I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see the day of the Royal Rumble where Sami says, Tribal Chief, let me be in the Royal Rumble, and if I win, I will lay down to you at WrestleMania. I won't have the match. I don't see any members of the Bloodline in the Royal Rumble. I don't see it. Maybe if you hyped this up a week or two ago, and you're like, hey, you flood the Royal Rumble match with all the members of the Bloodline. Flood them with the Usos. Flood it with Solo Sikoa. Flood it with Sami Zayn. Don't flood it with Paul Heyman. But you flood, and if any of them win, they sacrifice their title shot. They're there to just fuck things up. They didn't go that route. You're not going to do it the day of the event. I don't see it. So looking at the names already announced, I think it comes down to Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, and a sleeper hit, a wild card. And I think it's a name that has not been announced yet. And it could be somebody who enters number 30, number 29. I'm going with my same two picks. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will win the Rumble. Now I don't know about the Chamber. Because that Sami Zayn Chamber picture, I love it. But at the same time, it leaves me asking questions more than anything else. Is the winner of the Chamber going to get a championship match at WrestleMania? That's normally what happens. So if that's not going to be the case this year, then I feel you got to go with Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble. Very predictable. I think a lot of people would find it extremely predictable, but if any of you out there that might be younger wrestling fans that maybe didn't watch wrestling 10, 15 years ago, 15 years ago plus especially, when you had your Cenas, your Austins, you had, the bigger names win Royal Rumbles, in some cases it was predictable. It was predictable. And predictable is not always a bad thing. So if Cody returns and achieves his goal, I don't think fans would really have a problem with it. For me, though, I think it's too cliche. I think the story is too perfect. I think WWE, even with Triple H at the helm, I just can't see it being like a perfect Roads A to Roads B. I think Cody loses if the Elimination Chamber ends up determining who gets the other title shot. Because Roman has 2 titles. And look at what they're doing now with the tag team division. They are purposely doing tournaments for each brand's championships. Why wouldn't, in storyline, Adam Pearce do the same for Roman Reigns? He should. He absolutely should. So you almost feel like if he's doing that to the Usos with the Bloodline, why isn't he doing it to Roman Reigns? So until we are told otherwise, I am still, in my mind, thinking that the Elimination Chamber winner goes and faces Reigns at WrestleMania. And then, if that happens, my scenario, Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes fails at the Royal Rumble, but gets second life because he could be in the Elimination Chamber. Cody Rhodes wins the Chamber. Maybe Adam Pearce announces that Cody Rhodes, who won the Chamber, and Seth Rollins, who won the Royal Rumble, they both have a shot at the champion at WrestleMania. The problem is there's only one champion, and they tease a match on Raw for that shot, and then maybe the Bloodline fuck up the match, and it ends in a no contest. And then the following week, Adam Pearce announces we have Cody and Seth in the ring. Who's going to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Anticipation. And then Adam Pearce announces that night 1, it'll be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Night 2, it'll be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I know that's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a lot for Roman Reigns. But it's possible. It's very possible. So until we are told otherwise, that the winner of the Elimination Chamber is not getting a title match at Mania, I'm going with Seth Rollins to win the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes to win the Elimination Chamber. That's where I think this is going. Now, unfortunately, my friends, there's really not much I could say about this match. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be tremendous. It is going to be a hot mess. As I said earlier, and I say that with love, it is going to be a hot mess. And we know what the outcome is. There is no way Kevin Owens is going to go into WrestleMania as the unified WWE Universal Champion. You know it's not going to happen. You just want to see how this storyline progresses tomorrow. What does Sami Zayn do? Does something happen and it backfire? Does Sami Zayn get fed up with the bloodline and just walk out and quit, which is a possibility? Everybody thinks we're going to get that moment where Kevin Owens is in the ring with Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho pulls up the list of Jericho, and then he looks, and it's the Kevin Owens. You know, Kevin Owens has him on the list. Why am I on the list? And then Kevin Owens destroyed him. That we may not necessarily get the bloodline just ambushing Sami Zayn out of nowhere. Sami Zayn could end up quitting. Then the bloodline will fuck him up. A crazy beatdown's got to happen. Kevin Owens will probably end up making the save. And that would segue with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on the Usos at WrestleMania. That's where it feels like it's got to go. So the question tomorrow is, what is Sami Zayn's involvement going to be? What is going to happen with the bloodline? You know, the Usos have no match. So expect a lot of interference. But the question is tomorrow Sami Zayn's final night in the bloodline? I think there is a long shot that Sami Zayn could end up quitting. I could see maybe Roman getting in his face or someone else, and I could see the crowd getting behind Sami Zayn, and he's looking around, and he's like, you know, like you could hear Michael Cole, like, you know, stand up for yourself. Like you could almost feel it, and I could see Sami Zayn, or maybe they want Sami Zayn to do something to Kevin Owens, and he has second thoughts, and then they get pissed. Listen, even though Sami Zayn tried to help Solo Sikoa tonight on SmackDown against Kevin Owens, remember, Solo Sikoa did not hesitate on Monday with the Samoan spike. He was ready to nail Sami Zayn with it. So that, if you remember early on, when Solo came to the main roster, didn't it feel early on that Solo and Sami were the ones who were tight? Jay obviously despised Sami Zayn. Jimmy Uso was trying to be peacemaker. Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. But it felt like Sami and Solo had a little bit of a bond. Like you thought that Solo may feel a little bad, you know, if he had to do something to Sami Zayn, but no, yeah, you're right. Vulture, you're absolutely right. They rewrote Solo's character a little bit. They obviously tweaked it. And I'm loving it. Big Solo Sikoa fan. But Solo on Monday did not hesitate. That's like the mafia shit. That's like the mob stuff. My neck of the woods over here, no joke. And I'm not even saying that to like that. You look up the history with like Gotti and the mob, and they whacked their best friends. They were forced to kill their friends, and they didn't hesitate. I mean, they felt bad about it, but they didn't hesitate. They would just show up at a warehouse or somewhere, or you know, oh man, and they just whack them, you know, for various reasons. So, Sami gets super kicked tonight from Solo. Monday, Solo was ready to spike him. So I could see Sami maybe having a little bit of second thoughts about doing something to Kevin Owens. I mean, Roman Reigns is going to prevail tomorrow. But I think Roman will probably do it without Sami's help. Or Sami will be reluctant. And I think there is a chance that Sami Zayn could quit. And if he quits and walks away, I think the crowd will lose their shit. 50,000, something big is going to go down. You have 50,000 plus there tomorrow, you're doing something big. You ain't waiting until SmackDown. Or you could do something on SmackDown too, but you got to do something at the Royal Rumble. So tomorrow night, when we recap this match, the small headline will be Roman Reigns retains. That's obvious. But the big headline is going to be something else. Something else. So those are your Royal Rumble predictions. So, before we wrap this up a little bit, number one here is Rampage for tonight. Jamie Hayter beat Emi Sakura in the main event. It was a title eliminator match. Emi Sakura lost. You know, a lot of these matches just look put together, with all due respect. Powerhouse Hobbs won a squash match. It was against Tony something. Not Tony Storm, but some, you know, it's not anybody on the roster. Best Friends and Danhausen lost to Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Satnam Singh. Hangman Adam Page beat Wheeler Yuta. Non-title match, because remember, Wheeler Yuta is what, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion? Now, just very quickly, I want to just mention briefly about the Bellas. This was the video that really started this ridiculous hashtag on Monday, Give WWE Women a Chance. After the 30-year anniversary of Raw and the cage match being cut, you know, regulated to just a beatdown, they went immediately on social media and they said this, and this was very interesting because if you remember on Monday, the Bellas were supposed to be there. And when they were removed from the poster, I got 3 different answers. If you remember, the 2 answers that I did share was that somebody said travel, somebody else said that they decided not to show up at the last minute. And then the third one I said was a little bit controversial, but I don't want to put it out there until they verify it. Well, it ended up being the controversial one. The Bellas, and we actually talked about this a little on Wednesday, the Bellas wanted a bigger role at Raw 30. And WWE was just going to keep them in the casino, in the poker room. And they were insulted by it. And look, I'm not trying to be nasty, and it's nothing personal. But in my opinion, I have a few things to say. This is what they put online Monday night.
Another good memory on Raw. How didn't they showcase anything from the women's evolution?
But also the way we did our matches
Because
on
Sasha
there,
Banks and they're like, we can't.
and the Bellas, there's a bunch of us. And
Mercedes is too over, and we can't say her name.
There's a couple other girls and Rhea. There's a bunch of us they don't want to show. That's fine.
That's fine.
No, it's not fine to them. Listen, I looked up Raw 25. Raw 25 was obviously more meaningful than Raw 30. Let me give you the match results from Raw 25. Remember, it was in 2 buildings, and we had a couple of dark matches as well. Goldust over Kurt Hawkins. Grand Metalik and Kalisto over Jack Gallagher and TJP. The Miz over Roman Reigns. Yes, he beat him. It was for the IC Championship, too. Heath Slater and Rhino versus Titus Worldwide went to a no contest. Yeah, Mustafa Ali over Lindsay Dorado. Tozawa and Hideo Itami over Drew Gulak and Tony Nese. Bray Wyatt over Matt Hardy. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, with Finn Balor, Razor Ramon, and D-Generation X, they beat the Revival. And the women's match, Asuka, Bayley, Mickie James, and Sasha Banks over Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville with Paige in their corner. There was only one women's match that night that went 12 minutes. This past Monday on Raw, it was Sonya Deville versus Bianca Belair. That went 8 minutes. And the cage match Attack went 6 minutes. The women had more time this past Monday on Raw than they did 25 for Raw 25. The Bellas were at Raw 25. There was a moment where a few legends were introduced. And they introduced the Bellas. Trish Stratus was there. Maria Kanellis, who was pregnant at the time, she was there. And they announced a few other names as well. Maryse was there. So where was the outrage at Raw 25? The bottom line is this. You look at Asuka, Bayley, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, Mandy Rose, even Sonya Deville. You look at them now compared to 5 years ago, and all of their stock has gone up tremendously. The women have main evented WrestleMania. The women have main evented Raw after Raw after Raw after Raw. Count how many times last year. There was, I think, an 8 or a 9 week stretch. I might be off by a couple, but there was at least over a month and a half stretch that the women were main eventing Raw every single week. The fact is, you look at this Evolution poster from back in the day, all right? You look at all the names on that list. Everybody who is wrestling today is probably better. They get more position now than they did 5 years ago. You look at everybody on that poster. I mean, a few women now are a little bit up there in age, and obviously not everybody, is doing great right now. Nia Jax obviously not wrestling, but you look overall as far as the names that technically matter, they're all in a better place than they were 5 years ago. And to turn around and not say a fucking word about AEW and how the women are used there, to turn around and throw shade on Monday because they weren't acknowledged. Do you know, check this out. I don't have any clips. I didn't even bother. Do you know Nikki Bella and Brie Bella were on Tamron Hall today? The same show that Mandy Rose was on 2 weeks ago. Now, I don't know if Tamron Hall now is trying to get all disgruntled WWE women to appear on her shows. She's going to run out very, very quickly. But they went on that show racing to tell all the women in the audience that it's not about them. It's about the women. It's about them being noticed. And we don't want to step back. And why aren't we celebrated and acknowledged? And some people have, injured ourselves and we've lost our careers today. So we should be honored and celebrated. Nikki Bella is approaching 40 years old, everyone. And I don't mean to be cold, but I've made this comment for 10 years. And it's as we get closer and closer, my comment gets more and more relevant. I said, you wait until Nikki Bella is in her 40s and in her 50s. She's going to turn more and more into a train wreck because that woman needs the spotlight. You look at the women who paved the way from the 90s and the 2000s, from the Molly Hollies to the Trish Stratus to the Litas and everyone else, the Lisa Marie Verones, even Mickie James. Mickie James had every right to be upset about getting the stuff thrown in a garbage bag. But you look at all of them, they stay classy, they do their thing, they try to help the women. I don't see not one woman on the WWE roster, I don't see not one woman who is doing well today turn around saying, yeah, cool with the bell. They don't need the Bellas to speak for them. Those women have play. Those women have power. Charlotte Flair has a lot of power. Becky Lynch has power. Bianca Belair now has power. They don't need fucking Nikki Bella. The problem is that Nikki Bella, if she gets married, she's got to have paparazzi cover everything. If she's going to get pregnant, there's got to be paparazzi to cover anything. If she changes her toilet paper or decides to use a different brand deodorant, she's got to have paparazzi covering it. Everything is variety, podcast, food, clothes, lingerie, this and that. Everything is about being in the spotlight. This woman needs to be in the spotlight. And unfortunately, I think with Brie Bella, it's like she's got to go along with the ride. But it's not, I don't really have any issue that much with Brie Bella. But Nikki Bella, as she gets older, the attention, she's going to be on Barmageddon, fucking 7-Eleven again. She's going to be on fucking cooking shows. She's going to be, if we still had Celebrity Match Game, Family Feud, if she was fucking Hollywood Squares, well, why can't I be the center square? Why do I have to be in the right-hand corner? Give fucking women a chance. This woman needs the spotlight. And now, with WWE no longer needing her value is overinflated. Look, she is an inspiration for women. She definitely helped women. But her value now in 2023 is nowhere near what it was 10 years ago. And she despises that. She hates that. And if WWE does not bend over backwards and make them, they put them in the fucking Hall of Fame in 2020. They put them in the Hall of Fame in 2020. Where other women like Miss Elizabeth and others are not in the Hall, they put them in the Hall of Fame in 2020. So they have bent over backwards and treated them like prissy prima donnas, especially Nikki Bella, more than anything else. And as Nikki gets older and older, and this is what I've been saying for 10 years, as she approaches her 40s, as she approaches her 50s, if she turns around and she's got a fart, she's like, wait, let me get my phone. Hold on, let me get my phone. Hold on. She's got to record everything. Everything's got to be in front of a camera. And the problem is, unfortunately, as you get older, the spotlight goes away. There's an old saying. A lot of people want to say hello when it's time to say goodbye. When they're in their prime and in their heyday, Ric Flair was a great example of that. When people are in their prime and their heyday, they could give two shits about anybody else. But when the spotlight starts going away and your value starts to diminish and it's time to say goodbye, that's when they want to say hello. And as the opportunities start diminishing, that's where this outlandish, and she's dangerous because she does have a lot of people that follow her. She does have a Bella army. But you look at fucking women's wrestling over the last 5 years, and you're going to say that they're taking a step back because they weren't acknowledged on Raw 30? But nobody wants to step up. You know why the women don't want to step up and go against her? Because they're worried about their own shit. They can take care of themselves. They don't need Nikki Bella to speak for them. They don't need to complain. They do their thing. But if you're going to do this, then be across the board. If you're talking about women, you fucking call out the other feds as well. You call out everywhere else. You don't just call out WWE and it just so happens to be a Raw 30. Because, we want you to be part of the poker segments. But wait, we're not going to get a package? They're not going to... You could almost picture Nikki saying it like this. You mean we're not going to get a package? You mean they're not going to bring us out to the ring? You mean you're not going to put us on a rampway? You're not going to... Of course they're not going to bring up Mercedes right now. Of course not. It's business. They showed her in the highlight package. This shit Monday, what was worse than that on Monday? Not the hashtag itself, because people just want to be part of a movement. I laughed my ass off at the people who were criticizing those people with the hashtag. But what they were doing in the process is they were putting at WWE, at hashtag, or it's hashtag give WWE. They were hashtagging the entire world because they wanted their comment to stand out. It wasn't about, hey, everyone, come on, let's be honest. Look at fucking the way WWE's used the women the last 5 years. Come on. You're really going to fucking say that? But they had to hashtag and all these other things because they were just trying to get noticed more than anything else. So, honestly, this stuff with Nikki Bella, you wait. You wait another 5 years when Nikki Bella's 45 years old. And you see where it goes. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but she is not going to be one person that is going to just go into the sunset, start living a quiet life, maybe do a podcast and do other things. No. That's not enough. She's got to. She has to be the center of attention. And I'm telling you, the next 5 years are going to be really. But if I'm WWE, honestly, that's not someone I want anywhere near my company anytime soon. Because she could turn around and say, "Oh, it's about the women. It's about the women." Well, who the fuck asked you for your help? We don't need you. With all due respect, people didn't run to Trish Stratus and Lita and say, "Hey, why don't you say something, Trish? Why don't you say something?" It's Raw 30. To me, it wasn't as big as Raw 25. Do we remember the last 2 weeks? All the news reports? Wow, they're really not hyping up Raw 30. Gee, I hope we're going to get some good surprises. They're not really saying much about Raw 30. So why the fuck is everybody suddenly talking about Raw 30 was this amazing, unbelievable, humongous, historic, huge event? I got to go on Tamron Hall and talk about it. This shit's annoying, man. It's annoying. And I feel bad. Because you could see that is a train wreck being prepared to happen. That is someone who is so craving for headlines. I'll never forget when they were doing that feud with Brie Bella versus Nikki Bella. You should have died in the womb. Of course, it was a stupid storyline. Those motherfuckers didn't respect pro wrestling enough that that same week, they were seen in a California restaurant eating dinner together, taking pictures. That's almost as bad as Lana and Rusev doing a divorce storyline on WWE television, and they're on TMZ showing engagement photos. You know, you're an on-air character. You're trying to tell a story. You're in a major storyline, Bellas. Order Grubhub, which wasn't around at the time, with a clear head. They did on the screen, no, Nikki, stop. You should have died in the womb. And then they're out dining and taking pictures a couple of days later. That's not anybody who truly respected pro wrestling. You know, I'm sure they cared, and I'm sure they made a lot of friends, and I'm sure they feel like they're pioneers. But, you know, a true pioneer doesn't need to say to everyone, look at me, acknowledge me, where's mine? Awful. Absolutely awful. All right, we're going to start bringing this home. We're at 90 minutes. Went a little bit longer than I expected. So, yeah, I just want to finish up with a couple of super chats. Kevin Milwaukee, remember early 1990 Royal Rumble from Orlando when Dusty Rhodes gave the best back body drop he's ever seen? The Macho King eliminating him? Yeah. A lot of that was Macho King, though. That motherfucker could elevate. I mean, that guy could push off. And, yeah, so many. There's never been, to me, there's never been a bad Royal Rumble. We've had some questionable winners over the years. But for me, the Royal Rumble is always fun. Even if you knew all 30 participants, you don't know when they're coming out. Unless they do a match for number 1 spot or number 30 spot. They didn't do that this year. So every time that thing counts to 0, it's a surprise because you have no idea who's coming out. You have somebody in the ring, and the next person that comes out could be feuding with them hardcore, big time. So we're going to have 60-plus surprises tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I've always said, for me, WrestleMania is always number 1, looking forward to for me, and number 2 is always Royal Rumble. Always. Hasn't changed in decades. Theme Parks with Johnny with a 5 spot. Speaking of anniversary, today is the Disney 100 celebration of Disney. That is cool, man. I did see that they were preparing some major celebrations for Disneyland. Somebody I watch on a YouTube channel who streams a lot of Disney. Look, I've said it before. I went to Disney on my honeymoon, and go figure, I fucking caught COVID there. You know, I got it from my wife. She got it because you got to go shopping. You know, there's like 70,000 people in this place. It smells like body odor. Now, I got to go shopping. I got to buy a shirt. We could buy it on Amazon. No, but it's not the same. Yeah, we got COVID. I was never a fan of Disney, but I had a nice time, and I really loved the resort. I already told my wife I want to go back. She wants to go back once COVID is out of here. Once COVID is out of here, then we'll go back. But I've never been a fan of Disney. Honestly, as a kid, I know NBC had the Wonderful World of Disney, like on Saturday nights. Nah, not me. Not me. I don't remember what I was watching on Saturday nights, you know, but it certainly was not the Wonderful World of Disney. Or it might have been Sundays. So, but cool, 100 years, man. And Theme Parks with Johnny with a 10-spot run-in. They don't understand it. It was also the Raw Go Home show as well. Yes. Great point. Great point. They had the Royal Rumble type up as well. I mean, I feel bad. I mean, honestly, I don't have this personal hatred for Nikki Bella, but she's the catalyst for all of the controversy. She's a very smart woman. She's friends. She is extremely smart. And she's somebody who's smart and with power can be dangerous because you start a hashtag and even if it sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't. You know, there are too many people out there that will just run with it and run with it and run with it. And then what do you see the last couple of days? Fuck you, Triple H. We didn't fucking need the DX segment for the 85th time. Fuck you. Meanwhile, D-Generation X in the midst of the Monday Night Wars on Raw going up against Nitro. It wasn't SmackDown against Nitro. It wasn't Sunday Night Heat against Nitro. It wasn't fucking Superstars. It wasn't, Saturday night's main event. Shotgun Saturday night. It was Monday Night Raw versus Monday Nitro. Of course DX gets a spot on there. The Divas had moments. We've had moments, the Divas, the women of today. But the women of today are still making memories. It was about celebrating history. And unfortunately, the women's match got cut. They'll survive. They'll probably get the cage match next week or the week after, and they may get extra time. Trust me. Were those women disappointed? Absolutely. I'm sure Becky Lynch and Bayley have looked back as far as their success over the last 5-7 years, and I think they understand, hey, it's a letdown, but you know what? They had the Royal Rumble, they had 30 years of Raw, they had all these legend histories. Now we'll fucking tear it up on another episode of Raw where we are the spotlight, and everybody will remember that night for us. That's how I look at it. So, all right. I think last for tonight, VJ. When Drew's music hits, he thinks of 2020 COVID era. I agree to a certain extent. I've always said Drew McIntyre was our COVID champion. I think a lot of people forgot that. Drew McIntyre was our COVID champion. I really do believe this. Drew McIntyre will be heavyweight champion again in the WWE before he retires. He will be heavyweight champion again. I tell you, you look back since COVID started, obviously you look at Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and even the Usos. I mean, their stock, would you have ever thought that Jimmy and Jey Uso would be in this position now, especially with that DWI stuff that happened early on? You look at some names, but Drew McIntyre, it makes me happy that he is accepted now as a main eventer. I mean, sure, what we saw on SmackDown tonight was stupid. But this wasn't his fault. But fans accept Drew McIntyre as a main event. So if Drew headlined, just like Kevin Owens. We know Roman's retaining tomorrow, but people still are so into Kevin Owens. That is a true main eventer. Sometimes the outcome is very predictable, but when you want to see someone in that main event spotlight, that is an awesome place to be, and he's got it. Sami Zayn is still a step below. Let's be honest. Sami Zayn has not gotten that spot yet where he's going to headline pay-per-views. Yes, War Games, I get it, but I'm talking about as a singles individual wrestler. Will that time come? Possibly. Hasn't happened yet. Give it time. Let it happen organically. It certainly happened organically with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens didn't play any political cards. He earned it, and the crowd fell in love with Kevin Owens. Not the same falling in love like they did with Daniel Bryan and others in years past, but, you get there, it is a cool place to be. And Drew is one of those guys that has made it. It doesn't feel wrong anymore. You know what I mean? Like, early on, Drew, I think some people are like, I still can't buy him in a main event. I still can't buy him as a champion. I think we're way past that now. And Sheamus is on his way. Sheamus has been in a main event spotlight before. But now, they're just letting Sheamus do his thing. And he has quietly been one of the MVPs for WWE in the last 3-4 years. Absolutely one of the MVPs. And the spotlight hasn't been focused just on him. So, all right, everybody. I am going to jet out of here. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I wanted it to be more than just Royal Rumble predictions because obviously tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, is when we normally do the Don Tony show. But with the Royal Rumble happening Saturday night, it'd be pretty stupid for me to do predictions 12 hours before. So I figured let me come up here Friday night so everybody could enjoy, a little Friday night show. We haven't done this in a little while. Now, once again, let me give you a little update with the watch parties. As of now, no more NXT watch parties. And today we didn't have any watch parties either. Unfortunately, and it's sad, and I say this every week, there's quite a few people that unless we're doing a prize giveaway, they don't show up. And the thing is that it just seems that people are not interested in them. Some people still don't realize when we do a watch party, you're not watching me. You're watching the actual TV show. I've been offered to do Monday Night Raw as a watch party. It is not going to be fun to sit on my fat ass from 8 to 11 on Monday and then sit here from 11 to 12:30 on Monday. That's 4.5 hours of sitting on my ass. My ass does not feel very good after 4.5 hours. But if enough of you show up on Monday, then we will continue doing watch parties on Monday. If the turnout is not good, they're done. And unfortunately today, only a couple of people showed up for SmackDown and Rampage. So, if people aren't going to show up, then there's no reason why I should be hosting them. Let's take that energy and let's do it, put it somewhere else. Whether we spend more time on another show or we do something different, we'll see. We'll see. But I feel bad for the few people that do show up every single week. But even they understand it's nuts to put in that amount of hours and tie up all that time, just so, 10 people could show up, the same 10 every week. So I would love to do things like that for 10 people, but I wouldn't even do it for 10 of my own family members. So, but all right, so we'll see what happens. So Monday night, we should be doing a watch party. Just pay attention to my social media, at Don Tony D on Twitter. I will post something in the community section on YouTube as well if we do it. And we'll see. We'll see. If we get a nice turnout, then we'll continue doing them. If nobody shows up, then they're done. So, all right, everyone. I'm out of here. If you enjoyed tonight's show, you know what to do. If you didn't enjoy tonight's show, then why are you here? Much love, everyone. Much love. You'll have a good night. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. I'll be here Monday. Yeah, I'll be here Monday night, but I'll be here Saturday night right after the Rumble. We'll talk about it. I think it's going to be a really, really good one. 50,000 people, they're going to make sure that 50,000 people lose their shit. There's going to be some great shit going on tomorrow. And especially with Triple H at the helm, there's newfound hope that we might get some little twists and turns that we may not have expected if Vince McMahon was still at the helm. So be well, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the Rumble. I'll see you Saturday night right after.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.
I see we're looping it. We're looping it. I'm a little loopy right now.